Hello, 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 hello. I hope everybody can hear me today. I made some mistakes on the other video I did, so please forgive me. I am human. I make mistakes. Uh, I thought that my volume was set right, and I had set it, but then I found out that it wasn't set properly, and so you couldn't hear the sound. Uh, and I didn't know it until it was too late. So I'm sort of redoing what I've already done when it comes to, and then what I wanted to do this time that I didn't do the last time was play a video. But I wanted to have a conversation on sexual assault on a college campus. And this particular case is covering wherein a young man had sexually assaulted a young lady on the college campus. He actually knew her, but he's behind bars today for rape, and he's from South Alabama. And so I wanted to go over that, but right now I wanted to play a video, and then I'm going to come back and give my input after the video plays. Because I definitely want to share something that I found that seemed to be very interesting when it comes to college campus. So I'm going to share this. Okay, come on.
Just the past 4 weeks, an uptick in sexual assaults and drugging incidents has been reported on college campuses across the country. And yesterday, the University of Southern California responded, suspending an on-campus fraternity. And this happened as a female student was allegedly brutally attacked by a fraternity member at the University of Delaware earlier this month. But what happened at USC isn't unique, and many times taking a stand needs to happen in more influential and creative ways. Enter the power of social media. Protests on at least 10 college campuses have taken place since the start of the school year now, spurred in part by the power of TikTok, leading us to open our eyes and pay attention to our next guest. Kira Span, a student at the University of Delaware, leading the fight on her campus and on social media. Also joining us, Tracy Vichers, the executive director of It's On Us, a nonprofit dedicated to combating college campus sexual assault. Kira, so good. By the way, it's so weird saying my own name, but you've got a great name, Kira. Great to see you. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
On a much more serious note, though, on October 8th this month at your school, a female student was allegedly attacked by her ex-boyfriend, Brandon Frere, a member of the fraternity Kappa Delta Rho. And according to the police report, he was charged with kidnapping, second-degree assault, and strangulation. And then 4 days after the assault, Kappa Delta Rho released a statement saying that they took action to expel the person from our organization. The university also condemned the incident, saying, quote, they denounced the violence reported and call for our community to come together and advance our goals of a campus climate free of all violence, including gender-based violence and violence against women. So, Kira, let's start with you. After you found out about this, you actually went on TikTok. You put together this video. And as we watched it unfold, thousands of students came out in support. I don't know if we can take a look at that. There we go. Here it is. And you've got 8.2 million views on this video. Why do you think that this drew such a powerful reaction?
I think the biggest problem that we've been having here is the fact that we all learned about this assault online. One of my friends texted me a link to the post. The university said nothing to us. So I think our campus, and especially women on our campus, felt very unsafe because we were all thinking, what if this happened to us? So we kind of all decided to take to the streets and have a protest. And I'm so thankful for social media because the university didn't respond until it had this national attention on it. And I don't know if we would be where we are now without that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, video, pictures, it really, the visuals make such a difference. And I'm curious what kind of response you got from the entire campus community. And I'm also very curious if you got any support from male students, particularly members of the fraternities, because if you look at that video, at parts you go across and you see a lot of young male students, let's say, not being really supportive of what you're doing, and I'm putting it lightly. So tell me about the response, and have you received support from male fraternities?
We actually have had a really great response with Greek life on our campus. The problem with our first protest was, of course, there were members, those members that were on the porch, they were not members of KDR, they were members of an off-campus fraternity here. So we were able to figure that out. But yeah, we actually had a really great Greek response. The problem with our first protest is that when everyone was walking by, they were like, what's going on? And half of the people walking by had no idea what was happening. But Greek life has already made actually pretty crazy changes on our campus before the university has even implemented them. So we've had good support from the student body here.
Well, that sounds incredible. Tell us what kind of changes have been made. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, so they've implemented more rules on safety when it comes to moving, like going out and that kind of stuff. They've done a lot of really amazing changes there. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to speak on that, just because that's not really my area of expertise, but there have been changes that have been made, and the student body collectively have also made a list of requests from the university on what we can do to make our campus safer. So we've been working with an administration and local legislation on pushing that forward as well.
Well, that's news right there. So we will definitely follow up because I want to know specifically what changes were made. And Tracy, maybe you're tuned into those and you can tell us, because according to your organization, 50% of all sexual assaults occur on college campuses. I mean, that number is striking, and it happens before the Thanksgiving break. So how much does Greek life contribute to this? And how do we continue to try and change the culture here?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. You know, as you just mentioned, right now we are in the middle of what is called the red zone on college campuses. University administrators and experts know that more than 50% of all the sexual assaults that occur during the school year happen from the day that freshmen arrive for first day move-in and end up basically being done by the time that they leave for Thanksgiving break. This is really troubling that this happens every year. And this year we've seen this issue of the red zone exacerbated because we have a class of freshmen coming to campus for the first time who are historically the most vulnerable. But we also have sophomore students, many of whom have spent the first year of their college experience Zooming, not having a traditional freshman year experience, now coming to campus, and they're essentially socially and culturally freshmen, which is making two classes of students very vulnerable to experiencing sexual violence and having perpetrators harm them. As it relates to Greek life, a 2019 study found that men in fraternities are 300% more likely to perpetrate sexual assault than other male student populations on campus. But what the study also found that's important to note is that it is not all men in fraternities who are committing these acts of sexual violence. It found that approximately only 5% of the men were committing the vast majority of sexual assaults, which essentially indicated that the men were repeat perpetrators. Of the incidents reported in this study, 46% of the incidents were committed by men who admitted to raping 10 or more times, which is terrifying.
That is terrifying. That is completely terrifying. And we talk about prevention, education, but clearly that's not enough. I mean, what is it going to take to really see change. And, men truly, the male students have a responsibility here as well. It's not just, thousands of women that we see on the streets protesting that can make a difference here. I mean, there is a accountability to male students as well.
There is accountability for male students, and It's on Us is very much focused on talking to young men on college campuses about prevention education. One of the things that is really frustrating about the ways colleges and universities approach sexual assault prevention is that they don't actually approach it as prevention and culture change. They approach it through the lens of institutional risk management. And in many cases, schools only require students to commit or to complete a 30-minute, say, online webinar that they click through very hurriedly before they have to apply for classes. That is not sexual assault prevention. That's not education. That's asking students to basically blindly watch a webinar, and then the school can say, well, 100% of our schools completed prevention education. And we know that that's not enough, which is why It's on Us was founded to call young men into these conversations and empower them to understand what sexual assault looks like, what it means to get consent, how to be an active bystander. If you see something, say something, step in, do something about it. Because we know that 85% of survivors of college sexual assault know their perpetrators. But guess what? The young men on campus know who those perpetrators are too. They just have not received a proper education in how to have those tough conversations or how to intervene when they see something bad is about to happen. So we really need to start empowering young men with the knowledge and skills that they need to be a part of the solution to this issue. And that's really what It's on Us is focused on doing.
That's so fantastic. And, parents have a tremendous responsibility here too. We should be raising our girls and our boys differently. Kira, you've also started an Instagram account called Coalition of Change. Tell us about that, how it has brought students together across the country, and more importantly, how you're going to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. So I alone do not speak for my entire student body. And while I was the organizer of these past two protests, we knew that moving forward, we need better representation. So we've created a leadership team, a very diverse leadership team, to kind of front this change going forward and all work together. Our goal right now is to really implement these strategies and these things that we want to change, not just on University of Delaware's campus, but all throughout Delaware, and then hopefully eventually the nation. Education is the best form of protection. So doing things before they happen is really what we want to change. We don't want to focus on afterwards. We want to worry about how we can actually fix this before the problems start.
Well, we have all here among the team been just so proud to see the difference that you've made. Kira and Tracy, thank you so much for your time. It's so important to stay on top of this. And let's continue to talk about the
All right, all right. So I thought that was very interesting, especially when it comes to our children in college campus. And I wanted to touch bases on when I seen that and also seeing this article. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. I seen one article on this young man raping somebody on the college campus. So happened he knew the young lady that he raped. They were supposed to meet up, I guess not far from that. And he ended up meeting up with her, but he ended up raping her. And the police narrowed it down to him, His name is E.J. Pearson. He's 18 years old. He faced 6 charges in rape, robbery, and sexual torture of a college student in Selma, Alabama. And this happened earlier this month. And when I seen it, I was like, wow, are you serious? He tortured her. But this was somebody that you was going to take out on a date. So how did it turn into rape and robbery? And then you sodomize her. This was done October the 4th in Mobile, Alabama, which is about 15 miles north. Selma is 15 miles north of Mobile, Alabama. Um, not far at all. But deputies narrowed it down to him. They went on his job and they arrested him. He was wearing a hoodie, a mask, a bandana over his face. He got into her car and raped her at gunpoint. So she was thinking she was meeting this nice young man, not knowing, leaving a car unlocked, thinking she's meeting somebody nice. And he gets into the car with a hoodie and bandana on, covering his face, and got her at gunpoint. And then he raped her with, I guess, his mask on. But the police narrowed it down to him, and now he's in prison doing their investigation. They felt like it was him. He was the only suspect in the case. And the forensic showed it was him because, got in a car, so you leaving DNA, not thinking. They arrested him that Friday on his job, and he sent the police on a foot pursuit. But then they finally caught him and apprehended him and took him into custody. He was charged with first-degree sodomy, first-degree rape, first-degree robbery, sexual torture and abuse, and attempting to escape and resisting arrest. So I am glad he is off the streets tonight. They didn't say what his bond was set at. He may not even get, they may not even request a bond for what he has done. And if they do, it's going to be the highest bond amount possible because they do not want him back out on the streets. He has ruined this young lady's life. This is why we got to be mindful. We got to teach our children how to protect themselves. And it's not enough of that going around. We take it for granted. Yes, we want them to go to college, but we also want them to be safe. And sexual assault in college, a lot of it can be prevented if we teach our children how to be safe. So my question is, what is the school doing to keep our children safe on college campus? What are parents doing? Are we educating our children, keeping them safe? Yes. Are we educating our children? Sexual assault in college, it still remains preventable. 19% of women and 6% of men experience sexual assault during their college years, with 90% of these occurrence penetration by someone they know. So basically they're saying 90% of the rape cases on college campus, 90%, you know the perpetrator. It's somebody that you know. Whether you met them at a party, you met them, got class with them, somebody you thought you was going to go on a date with, and they're not nice like you thought they were. Sexual assault can lead to mental health struggles, physical and mental health struggles. It can cause a lot of college students to drop out. So there are preventive strategies. Students can educate themselves on knowing what they need to do, how to defend themselves if they're in a dangerous situation. Learn how to keep yourself and others safe. And that's the biggest thing, teaching our children how to be safe on college campus. Whether the school teach them or not, there are some teaching that needs to take place at home. You as parents have to educate your children. Because there's a lot of times online sexual harassment and abuse, and they've got a lot of different resources out here to stop when it comes to online sexual harassments, abuse, sexual assaults before they happen. But we got to we got to educate ourselves and be more aware. Sexual assault occurs when someone forces unwanted, involuntary, and or offensive sexual contact with another person. Sexual assault is a form of sexual violence, along with rape and sexual abuse. In every state sets its own definition of what sexual assault is, what sexual abuse, what is rape. Each state comes up with their own definition. So you have to see what state you live in and what are their guidelines as what they consider to be rape, or what do they consider to be sexual assault. Because each state could be different. Sexual assault is not the same as rape. Rape involves any type of penetration, no matter how slight it is, whether it's in the vagina, angle, any parts of the body. You can use an object or penetration by sexual organ. Another person is basically touching somebody without their consent. Sexual assault is defined more broadly as a type of sexual contact or behavior that takes place without the without consent of the recipient. Rape is one type of sexual assault. Fondling and sodomize. I don't know. Somebody's in on my chat. I'm not quite sure what this is. I don't know if think it's appropriate. So I'm gonna hit block. If they want to come up and have a conversation, I can drop the link. You're more than welcome to come up and have a conversation. But when it comes to doing anything that's not appropriate, we're not going to do that. Not on this show. We don't do that. But if you want to come up and have a decent conversation, I'm more than willing to do that with you. Okay. This is data coming from Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. Shows that within undergrad students population, more than 26% of females and 7% of male students experience sexual assault. Uh, Physical force, violent behavior. Within grad population, the numbers are nearly 10% and 2.5%. Overall, 23% are transgender, queers, and non-conforming students experience sexual assault in college. Basically, we need to look at the statistics of what's going on our universities, see what can we do to keep our children safe. I do say have the conversation with your children, let them know it's not their fault, but in the same token, you got to protect yourself. When you leave for mom and dad, you need to know how to protect yourself. Because sexual violence isn't just one type of behavior. It can be a wide range of different types of behavior. College students need to educate themselves on the different types of sexual violence and know their rights if they are harassed or assaulted. Sexual assault covers a wide variety of non-consensual physical acts. This could be unwanted sexual touching, forcing someone to perform sexual acts, or penetration, their bodies against yours. Pressing your body against somebody else can all be considered sexual assault. Sexual harassment is verbal or physical. Sexual harassments occur when someone exhibits unwanted sexual behavior. This can happen at work, the gym, on public transportation, in school, in universities, um, pretty much anywhere you go, you're really not safe. If you feel unsafe due to how others behave towards you, can be anytime you feel like you feel unsafe. I don't feel safe with this person around me. Uh, it could be seen as sexual harassment. If it's something they're doing to um, make you feel uncomfortable, they're making verbal comments or they're doing some type of physical. Um, it could be seen as sexual harassment. And what I really want to talk about is stalking. Please don't stalk nobody. Teach our boys and girls, our children, men, women. If they want you, they want you. If they don't want you, you can't make them want you. Move on and find somebody else. It's somebody out here for everybody. They may not be the one for you. You don't have to stalk anybody to make them be a part of your life. That's not acceptable. And stalking can get you in a whole lot of trouble. These are conversations we need to have with our children, even when they are online, stalking someone, or you read everything this person say, you all attached to them, and they're not even aware of what you're doing. Uh, and if they don't like you, then 9 times out of 10, it's unwanted behavior and it's unsafe. So these are conversations we have to have with our children. uh, calling people, texting, emailing. It's harassment, but harassment can turn into stalking because not only are you doing it texting or emailing, when you start going to people's houses, that's out of line. Or you waiting on them outside their work or they home, or you on the same transportation they on. That's way out of line. You can't make nobody love you if they don't. And we all know what rape is. It's sexual intercourse, which is forced on another person against their own will, and it's without their consent. Rape can occur in public or private environments. Um, it happens with somebody we know. It can happen with partners, somebody you're in a relationship with. It can happen with a stranger. And well-known people that you know. So there are a number of um, different types of rape. Date rape. Um, Date rape is seen as somebody forcing themselves on you. You want to date, you don't want to be with that person. They could have slipped some type of illegal drug in your drink. I always used to tell my daughter, if you get a drink and you're out hanging out with your friends and you can't see that drink, you leave it and go get something else, but do not pick that drink up, because oftentimes somebody is slipping you something in that drink and it could mess you up for the rest of your life. It can make you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because you can't trust everybody, and you trust nobody when you are out in public. I don't care if it is your friend party. I don't care who party it is. You don't trust nobody. If you can't hold that drink and keep it with you at all times to know that you're safe, and you set it down to go dance or you set it down to go do something else and you couldn't watch it, then you leave it. Do not drink that drink. Somebody could have put a pill in it, and then that's where date rape come in. And what if they put something in it that you are allergic to and you have allergic reaction, and then it messes with your mind and you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, just as crazy as a doornail, because you drunk a drink that you didn't watch and somebody did something to you. So be careful. Uh, be careful. You on a first dating, you don't know that person. Don't leave your drink unattended and say, well, I'm going to go to the restroom and you're going to watch my drink, but I don't even know you. No, you watch your own drink. Take your drink with you if that's what you got to do. But don't leave it and go back and you don't know this person, because they could slip something in your drink and next thing you know, you're raped and you have no clue what even happened to you. Partners rape they mates, husband, wives, boys, girlfriends. This is my boyfriend rape girlfriends, and they think it's okay and it's not. If you don't have that other person permission, you can't touch them legally. What you're doing is rape. Even if you want to have sex with your wife. And wives, if you want to have sex with your husbands and they don't want it, it's unwanted behavior, and you take it, it's rape. No means no. No means no. It doesn't matter whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship, and you could have been with this person a year, 2 years. It doesn't matter. No means no. I had the statistics on relationships and how often couples, um, two individuals who are in a relationship is particularly perceived as an abusive behavior. Penetration can be any gender, whether it's a female, a male, lesbian, individuals are most common victims of partner rape. Uh, what is seen as, let me see, what is this? Defining online sexual harassment and abuse. Common types of online sexual harassment and abuse: making any inappropriate sexual remarks to somebody, sending unwanted pornography. I see men on the internet doing it all the time. I see women on the internet doing it all the time. And it's harassment, it's abuse. It's unwanted behavior. Uh, it's online stalking. That happens a lot. The impact of sexual assault on college campus, it's a great deal. And it happens on many colleges. What does it lead to? Let's look at the health impact. College students who has been abused, uh, dealing with some type of sexual assault, rape, abuse, um, they could get a sexual transmitted disease. They could get pregnant. They can get bruised up. And beyond these survivors, this can be a long-term mental health challenge for them because they depress. And a lot of times, a lot of them have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety. Some of them even have suicidal thoughts. And that's the most hurtful thing, is the suicidal thoughts. Some survivors lose their appetite. Some of them face long-term eating disorders. You find some that withdraw against family, friends, college, people in their class. They just want to be left alone. And that's not a good place for them to be in, because a lot of times that's when they are stressful the most, and nobody wants them having to deal with any type of suicidal thoughts. They don't want to be in a romantic relationship with anybody because they fear they'll be taken advantage of again. It brings down a person's self-esteem. A lot of college students find themselves dropping out of school because it's too much for them to deal with. And it's at a high rate, the trauma event. One study found that 34.1% of students who were sexually assaulted dropped out of their university. 34%, 34.1%, because they couldn't cope. And a lot of victims feel that sexual assault is somehow their fault. It's not your fault. You may feel that way. Some people may feel that way because of the way they're dressed, and they feel like, well, if I didn't have this on, this wouldn't have happened to me. But nobody getting sexual abuse is not your fault. It's the perpetrator. But a lot of students that have been raped or sexual assaulted find themselves struggling in school because they can't stay focused. And it does bring on a lot of mental health challenges, poor grades, poor attendance. A lot of college students don't tell. It's because they don't want to be labeled. They don't want to feel like it's their fault, or they don't want the repercussions of what happens when you do tell. So it's embarrassing. It's a stigma that's on it. You know, if you've been raped or molested, nobody wants to be around you, especially if you tell. You may find yourself being alone, or your family's there. Your family's gonna always be there. Hopefully, you got a friend that was sticking there with you. You know, but my main thing is to teach our children to tell and let them know that if nobody's there, we're going to be there because we're family. And that's what family do. You make your children feel safe if this has ever happened to them, that they can tell and they can come and have the conversation with you. But sexual assaults can happen anywhere, nightclubs, different activities on college campus. Uh, the main thing is bringing awareness to our children and have the conversation and making sure what are they doing to keep themselves safe on college campus. What are you doing to keep yourself safe? And we're coming into the holidays and we're pushing November and it's time for Thanksgiving. And like the lady was saying, this is the red season. What are we teaching our kids? How to be safe. And then we're going into Christmas and people attacking people at the malls and different stores at the mall, or just anywhere that you're out. You have to be cautious and be mindful. Be aware of your surroundings. There's anybody that's out. Don't trust nobody. Make sure your doors are locked. So it's certain things that we can start having a conversation about and teaching our children. Definitely. Because it's somebody out there lurking, and I don't want nobody else to be another victim. Or survival. And we all can survive if you have been in that. According to data collected from the National Sexual Assault Hotline, 20% of college women ages 18 to 24 report the incident of sexual violence. That reason is survivors often not want to rehash the trauma experience. They don't feel that no one will believe them or trust them. They fear embarrassment or ridicule. Somebody's got something to say. And that judgment. Will judgment be served? So I'm going to say, if you know somebody, you have any friends that this has happened to, if you, this is a number, teach your kids to keep in their phone, The National Sexual Hotline number is 1-800-656-4673. That's 1-800-656-4673. and they have some staff that is online 24/7 to help and answer your question. So if it's something that I haven't answered and you want to go more in depth and ask more questions, call the number, please. By all means, find out what your school or university is doing to keep it safe for uh, the people that are at the university. Oftentimes, a lot of people show a video and say, well, we've done our part. No, that's not true. You have to educate men. What's a good to educate women too, to make sure they are aware and understand. You know, they have a lot of campus sexual assault prevention strategies. That's definitely a class that I would want my daughter to take if she's on college. My son too, because men can learn just as much as women in those classes on what not to do so that you won't get yourself in some trouble and end up in jail, because it is a felony. And that's something we have to teach our children, that sexual assault, rape, all that stuff could turn into a felony. So it's nothing to play with. See what college campus say about it, because each college campus is different. And if they got any classes or offer preventive training, sexual assault prevention training, I will advise all college students to take that, because they do address consent, harassment, online assault, and other educational topics, so you can get a better understanding and you can keep your child safe. So definitely have the conversation with them, because as a parent, it's your responsibility, even when they're in college, to do your best to keep your child safe, because there are predators out here. And if you are a bystander and you see it, teach your children to speak up. Don't just sit around and see stuff happening and don't say nothing, especially on a football team or, different organizations that are on college campus. If you see something and you know it's wrong, say something. Somebody's got to make the change. Somebody's got to make the change. A lot of college campus, I don't know how many have the self-defense classes. That's definitely something I would encourage college students to take, so they will know how to defend themselves if they are in that type of situation. I know exactly what to do to protect themselves. Know your drinking limit. Don't get too intoxicated on college campus. Know your limit, so nobody will take the advantage of you. Stay aware and be safe. So I'm going to end this today. I enjoyed this, and I'm sorry about the other one. So I hope everybody can get a better understanding of this one. And I want y'all to enjoy yourself today and have a great day. And we'll chat soon. Thank you. I enjoyed y'all. Leave me a comment, subscribe, hit the like button. I love reading y'all comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you.